Hey everyone, welcome to Neil Talks. My name's Neil, and it's time to talk The Expanse. This second major story arc, the second book, is really getting underway right now, guys, and all eyes are on Ganymede, of all places. What used to be just the breadbasket of the OPA of the belt, a joint farming colony of Earth and Mars. We're on the edge of war. Something destroyed Martian farming colonies there. They're convinced it was Earth. Earth Earth doesn't know what's going on, but it wasn't them as far as they're concerned. It makes me think Mao is behind this again. Jules Pierre Mao, that bastard with his own private stealth fleet. He precipitated the crisis of season 1 by destroying the Cant and then the Donager. Maybe he initiated this attack as well to push Mars and Earth over the edge. But cooler heads are prevailing temporarily. Chris Jen has championed the idea of a peace summit on Earth. That seems to be going ahead. Bobby Draper's heading to Earth to give her testimony because she's one of the few survivors of this catastrophe when this giant mirror crashed Earth, destroying much of the Martian colony there. And Bobby also had this run-in while she was in rough shape with what appears to be a proto-molecule-based hominid life form. But it can survive on the surface of Ganymede without a pressure suit, without oxygen. It tore the rest of her unit to pieces. It chose to leave her alive for some reason. But Mars seems to know something about what that is, and they don't want her talking about it at all. They've given her a different line, a different story to tell. And that's Mars accidentally shot first. We apologize. So yeah, what does Mars know? Is Mars in some sort... Does Mao have some sort of alliance with Mars as well? Is this even Mao at all? Has the proto-molecule evolved to the point where it's making tactical decisions like this to initiate a war between Earth and Mars, destabilize the system, and therefore maximize its odds of fully spreading throughout the system? Something to think about. But the crew of the Rocinante, Naomi in particular, have figured out that there is some protomolecule on Ganymede. They did some fun stuff with the antennas that, what's his name? Cantizaro, is that his name? That's not his name, but you guys know who I am. The scientist with zero moral code, who was under Fred Johnson's purview. No, you know what? He was Johnson's prisoner. Let's call it what it was. But he's been broken out by Dawes and his crew of OPA. Where Dawes is with this scientist now, nobody knows, because they had a great little decoy run. Diogo played his part. So now Dawes has the scientist who knows more about the protomolecule than anybody else in the system. Earth is still going ahead with a recovery mission to Venus to try and find the remains of the Eros collision. Hopefully they don't find any protomolecule there, but I wouldn't be surprised if they find some clinging on there. It's a life form that seems to be able to withstand the extremes of space, so perhaps it can withstand the extreme high temperatures of the Venus atmosphere. Maybe it's even thriving there. It feeds on energy, right? Heat is energy. Things are definitely getting complicated, is what it boils down to. And the Roci's on the way to Ganymede to investigate further. But I can't even imagine what's going to happen in this episode. But I'm ready to find out. So let's check it out. This is episode 9 of season 2, and it's called The Weeping Somnambulist. And I'm 99% sure a somnambulist is a sleepwalker. So what's that episode title all about? The Crying Sleepwalker? Also, weeping immediately triggers weeping angels, but let's leave the Doctor Who references aside for now. Here we go. Episode 9. Oh, and I didn't even talk about Prax and his missing daughter, May. Weeping Somnambulist is the name of the ship? Going to Ganymede.
Mars rains hell on Ganymede, and now they're treating us as if we were the criminals.
It's a routine stop, nothing more.
Then why are they jamming our call?
Martian? Stop.
I'm gonna have to search the rest of the ship.
You.
Oh, wait. That's Holden and Amos. I recognized Amos's voice there. I think.
Just food and medicine for Ganymede.
What are they hiding?
We're gonna have to impound your ship.
That's outrageous!
Just calm down.
No! Enough is enough! Get the hell out of my ship!
Yeah.
Melissa! Wait,
Yeah, they recognize that face.
you're James Holden.
Well, this is off to a good start.
So why did they need that ship? That's their way to get into Ganymede, I guess. Oh, cool. Look at this brutal dropship. Welcome to Earth?
Blood Ox booster, muscle fatigue inhibitor, rapid bone density enhancer.
Oh,
Starting
jeez.
now. This you left on your bunk.
Oh, she's uninterested.
I forgot it.
No, you didn't. Now is not the right time to go to war.
Has she ever just, like, breathed natural atmosphere before?
So when you were there, did you see the ocean?
Briefly. And the stench was like a recycling vat. It's just one more thing they've taken for granted.
Brutal. But I don't doubt it.
Maintain your dignity. Stay strong. Not here to give the Blues anything to laugh about.
It's just gonna be hard walking. Oh, and they need sunglasses. Because they're closer to the sun. Oh, I love all the details. Yeah, you want the glasses. Oh, jeez.
On your...
Wow. Martian embassy on Earth. Wow. The things we take for granted.
If that ship does find something on Venus, Aaron is not gonna tell you shit.
Yeah.
That's why I have an inside man.
Her scientist, right? I feel like Arbogast is like a name from medieval parables or something. Somebody tell me in the comments. What's the reference there?
I want a full status report when you're done.
Of course, Colonel Janus.
You're mispronouncing that. He's Portuguese. The J's silent.
Colonel Amos?
You seem to think that everybody else around you is stupid.
Just some.
Just because you can't figure something out doesn't make it magic.
Colonel, we just picked up an MCRN ship in Venus
Yeah, of
orbit.
course.
I don't know why we didn't see this before.
Of course, Mars is doing their own recovery mission. Of course, Mars sent a recovery mission too, but it's just going to make Earth more suspicious.
These supplies can save lives.
And they'll get where they're needed. I promise.
I don't believe you. Well, voila.
Oh no.
What we're doing is for the good of the belt and everyone else, whether you believe it or not.
If you tell us what you're doing there and what you want, maybe we could help you.
No. She was on her way back to Mars to be with you, but she was badly injured in transit.
Oh, cover story.
She was a good person.
Wow, he's not.
I promise I'll never
He's
forget.
not talking about the
And what she did
spacing
for
of
me.
the inners.
Never.
Oh, he's just going to feel like a prisoner. His daughter might be alive. You know, what's this Strickland all about? Who works for Protogen? Was he experimenting on these kids with the proto-molecule?
Come on, we need you upstairs.
No, I need to send a message.
You can't.
Am I a prisoner?
I don't think so.
and I have the right to know why.
I hope the strain of Earth's gravity hasn't been too much for you to bear.
Not at all. I was a Marine for 45 years. We trained extensively in 1G. It's like riding a bike.
With tires made of lead. Perhaps we should begin with a moment of silence for the lives lost on Ganymede.
Of course. It's important to remember the terrible cost of battle.
In victory or defeat,
That's a good thing to keep in mind.
you should spread it to your fleet.
Maybe you could tell them when our ships get to Jupiter. It won't take long.
A moment
We're
of
looking forward
silence,
to it.
generals.
Let's start by remembering the fallen.
Wind pisses me off so much.
So the issue at hand is de-escalation. Let's get right to it. We have a lot on our
Whoa.
agenda.
Come on, Aaron Wright. Give it a couple more seconds. And there's, yeah. She's the last thing on the agenda.
They're trying to scare us away.
Oh, they have no more idea what's going on than we do.
To all vessels in the area, this is the UNS Arbogast. Any interference with our operations may be considered an act of war.
All hands make ready for Venus orbit.
I believe we'll find your daughter.
You can stop pretending to care about my daughter. What does she have to do with this proto-molecule you're after?
How do you know about that?
I told him you should be straight with him.
We're gonna do everything we can to find your daughter.
The moment Dr. Strickland saw her, he knew exactly what was wrong. He kept her alive.
That can't be a coincidence.
We'll leave the Somnambulist once we dock, and then we'll intermingle with the locals.
And then?
And then we'll assess the situation and take it from there.
Your plan's always this vague?
It's
Pretty
about
much.
average.
We're going to be very lucky.
We've certainly had our fair share.
Hey.
It's so matter of fact.
So if anything goes south down there, y'all just holler. Cavalry will come running.
With every torpedo that every MCRN ship in orbit can launch, heading straight at us.
Yep.
That's your plan.
Welcome to the Roci.
We observed movements on the UNN line approximately 2 kilometers distance, and weapons fire. The UN Marines appeared to be charging our
So
position.
you're saying that we opened fire on you?
No, sir.
Is it possible that your Marines were testing their gear or conducting some sort of training exercise?
It's possible. We also had lost contact with our units.
Okay.
My team formed a firing line and prepared to engage if the UN Marines crossed 500 meters, which would have put them on our side of the zone. We mistook a training exercise as an active engagement and opened fire without orders.
Yeah. Christian knows that's a lie.
The responsibility is mine.
The battle on the surface is what precipitated the battle in orbit.
Is it? Do we know that for sure?
It was Private Richard Travis that fired the first shot.
He was born on Earth. His parents emigrated to Mars.
They're blaming
when he
it
was a
on
child.
one dead private.
He might have been trying to prove that he was more Martian than Earther.
We can't change what happened, but we can move forward in the effort of peace. And it's in neither of our interests to leave it crippled.
I want to see Christian and Bobby together. Private conversation. What do they know? What does Mars know?
Travis was a good soldier. He died for Mars, and you all just threw him into the goddamn crusher.
Travis did die for Mars. And if that story stops a war that we do not want, then he died a hero. The hard part's over. You can relax now.
This young man is a perfect scapegoat, almost purpose-built.
Don't look a gift horse in the mouth, Christian.
All right.
Lasagna. You be careful down there, Earther. Careful up here, Martian.
I love the bromance between Alex and Amos.
Godspeed, cowboys.
See you soon. Somnambulist out.
You're gonna get us all killed.
We're going to need a statement from your government accepting responsibility.
You're not gonna get one.
Never hurts to ask.
All right then, so we're done.
One last thing. I'd like to speak to Sergeant Draper again. Now.
Okay, let's bring her back into the room with everybody.
Tell me, if you could choose, would you still serve?
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
I want to do my part to make Mars a new Earth.
To turn a lifeless rock into a garden. A dear friend told me that. He wanted to retire to Mars, but he died. Did you know that the majority of people on Earth don't have jobs? In this building, it's easy to forget.
With all due respect, madam, where are you going with this?
Wherever I goddamn like. Were other Martians prejudiced against him for being from Earth?
Yes.
Yes.
Was he a good soldier?
One of my best.
Yeah.
Do you believe, after all that hard work, that Travis would jeopardize the lives of his fellow soldiers by foolishly jumping the gun?
No,
No? Then why would he open fire without orders?
we thought we were under attack.
Under attack? So you were fired upon?
No, he was trying to kill the enemy. I didn't even know what it was. Nobody did. He wasn't wearing a vac suit.
Sergeant Draper has been through a severe traumatic event. She needs to rest.
Whoever the fuck you are, stand down and let her speak. Unless there is something you don't want her to say.
Do as you've been instructed, Sergeant.
It was Travis.
Oh.
He panicked.
Yeah. She's being a good soldier. Oh, I love Chris Jen. She's such an awesome character.
What is that?
The Drake equation.
Looks like 6th grade algebra.
The average rate of star formation times the fraction of stars formed with planets that could support life. Fraction of those that could develop life, then intelligent life. And the fraction
How
of
much
those
intelligent
that could
life
develop
is out there?
technologies that might release detectable signals into space.
That's just a big fat guess.
It suggests there are over 36 million advanced civilizations out there doing all kinds of things that we just don't understand.
Or maybe all those other civilizations are gone. Maybe it's the nature of intelligent life to destroy itself.
Colonel?
What do we see? What do we see? The crater site, presumably. Okay, it's huge. It's a giant frickin' hole in Venus. Oh, transmitting to Chris Jen.
Life in an environment that melts lead. It should be
Oh, there's life. They're reading life.
Changes everything. Just like a soldier on Ganymede without a suit.
Hit those brakes. Tiny little moon.
Don't worry there, Miss Celine. Nothing untoward's going on here. We just need to hide under your skirt for a little while.
Beautiful. What a great little shot.
Okay.
Now we wait.
After we land, local muscle will come on board. Take 10% of our cargo. Business as usual.
It doesn't have to be. Not with Lester, I'm sure we can convince him.
I don't want you doing a goddamn thing. Go save the world if you think you can. I'll settle for helping a few of the poor souls who have to live in it.
Reminds me of Baltimore.
Gross. There's your local muscle.
Our agreement was 10%.
Oh.
Take 20. Skim the best.
See, this time we're taking all of the cargo and the ship.
All right, we have a deal.
We got company!
Goodbye, local muscle.
Jesus.
Oh no.
They were gonna kill you. We had to do something.
They were going to take the ship. Was it the right thing?
Get off my ship! Go!
Really interesting episode. I enjoyed it a lot. First of all, this is the very first time in the series, I feel like, where we've had direct communication between Earth government and Martian government. And they're negotiating this peace in the wake of the attack on Ganymede. I guess all the stuff that happened in Ganymede above the surface, up in orbit, was strictly retaliation for what was happening down on the ground, but I'll have to go back and watch the episode it all happened in Paradigm, in Paradigm Shift. But it felt to me as though there were shots being fired in orbit before there was any engagement on the ground between Draper's unit and either that UN unit that was fleeing or the Seventh Man, whatever that proto-molecule fueled creature was. But maybe it doesn't quite mesh for me. I think there's what precipitated the battle in space, because I feel like there was shooting up there before there was any engagement on the ground. Well, I might be remembering that wrong. But that's not the official story in any case, and certainly Draper's story that she's presenting to these peace talks is a heavily coached version that isn't the truth. They pin the blame on her ex-Earther private. You know that doesn't sit well with Gunny, but she's a good soldier, so she follows orders. Loved when Christian brought her back in for a second round of questioning. Love Christian just shooting down the Martians during her questioning. She can do whatever the fuck she wants, thank you very much. She's quickly becoming one of my absolute favorite characters in this show. But she also sensed that Draper's line about her private, I'm forgetting his name, it didn't sit well with her. And so she poked that and prodded at that to see if she could get Bobby to crack, and she did. For a moment, she talked about what the Blues were firing upon, and it was this man without a suit. The Seventh Man. Something that I think is proto-molecule fueled. But the Martians may know what that is. And it makes me think that they've got some sort of agreement with Mao, that they're working in concert to some degree. I don't know, but it's like, every sense I'm getting from the higher ups in the Martian military is they know what it is, but they certainly don't want knowledge of it getting out. And so they give this fake story for Draper to repeat. Draper does, but Christian knows there's something up. And it has to do with a man without a suit on Ganymede. Eros changed everything. We echo that with the discovery of the Eros crater on Venus. There's life down there. Now I do wonder whether Earth or Martian scanners for life would detect an alien life that's so unlike our own, that doesn't have what might be considered a lot of the traditional hallmarks of what life is. We don't know what the proto-molecule is composed of. We don't know what it feeds upon, what it expels, how it reproduces, how it communicates. We don't know any of these things scientifically. We have eyewitness accounts, and we have one mad scientist in the hands of the OPA who can help shed some light on the situation. But now that we know there's life down there on Venus, I am super worried that this science mission may get too close and get contaminated and start the spread of the proto-molecule within the system. Because the proto-molecule is evolving, it's learning, it's better understanding not just human physiology, but I have a funny feeling it's starting to understand human socioeconomic theory and politics, and understanding the nature of the conflict between Earth and Mars, and the proto-molecule is learning us really quickly, is my fear. And I feel like it has enough power that it can manipulate the situation and facilitate its own spread as quickly as possible. But I guess we'll find out. Really interesting B storyline with the Roci crew on the way to Ganymede. They basically commandeer this relief vessel, the Weeping Somnambulist. Such a bizarre name for a ship, but I'm sure there was a reason. And really, that B storyline was entirely a story exploring the moral ambiguity of this mission. Is it okay to essentially steal somebody's ship to get you where you need to go if what you're going to do when you get there is potentially stop the spread of the proto-molecule and potentially find May, Prax's daughter, and return her to him? Is that okay? Is that justified? You can understand why this couple that owns and operates the Weeping Somnambulist didn't believe Holden's story. They just want to deliver this relief aid. They want to help the people of Ganymede as best they can. They're trying to do good, but the greater good comes first, according to the Roci crew. And then the moral ambiguity of how we're treating Prax. Is he a prisoner? No, but why are we treating him like one? Because we have to maintain radio silence, and we have to limit we have to limit how much information he has about what we're doing here. Of course, AIM has basically destroyed that theory by just filling Prax in on everything, including the proto-molecule, and providing his own version of Statler and Waldorf commentary as Holden's explaining everything. So that got defused, but we also have this thing at the end where it's like, yes, we're bringing all this aid. We're comfortable giving up 10% of it to local gangs, so that we can deliver the rest. But that doesn't sit well with Amos and Holden, and so they go in to take these guys out, and now the man who owns the ship, or is the co-pilot, is dead. And his wife or partner, she's crying, she's raging, she's as upset as she'll ever be, and justifiably so. And yet, is that one man's life, I'm talking completely trolley problem, emotionally distant here to be the devil's advocate, but is his life worth sacrificing to ensure that all of this aid goes to Ganymede and the people on it? Will this aid will save lives, and these local thugs weren't content with the 10%. They were going to take it all and the ship. So this couple would have been marooned on Ganymede without their ship, without having delivered the aid. Is sacrificing his life worth all the benefit of what the Weeping Somnambulist delivered? Ask his wife and she'll say no. But ask the people in charge of the big picture, and they'll most likely say absolutely it is. It's doing the most good. And this is why government is such a challenge, because you have to make these decisions where you're not necessarily saving everybody. It's weighing how many people will die with each option. How many people will be better off versus how many will be worse off with each option. But you're making these conscious decisions that negatively impact some people. That's politics. That's governance. And it's a moral quandary I never want to get involved with. I don't want to have those sorts of decisions in my hand. It's half the reason I didn't like being a first AD. We're obviously on a much lower scale of things, but the first AD is also the chief safety officer on set. And it's my responsibility, if I'm running a set, to be aware of all the risks, to coordinate with all the department heads whenever we're doing an unusual, potentially dangerous activity, whether it's as simple as operating a lift or sending men up into the rafters for rigging, or whether it's a stunt or a special effect, people die on film sets. And I didn't want to be in any way responsible for that. And so I chose not to pursue that career. It's not the only reason, but it was certainly a factor. Anyway, yeah, this is such a thought-provoking show. I really adore where we're going this season. I love that there's still this really interesting mystery about what exactly Draper saw on Ganymede and who knows about it, and who, I mean, is it strictly the protomolecule, or is this another experiment like Dresden was conducting? Is this the result of what Strickland may have been doing on Ganymede? So many questions. What does May have to do with it and her genetic disorder? And so Ganymede has some sort of magnetosphere that aids with certain genetic conditions and gestation. It's like a good place to be pregnant for the health of your child. That's really interesting. I don't understand the science behind that, but I can imagine that there's truth to that. Yeah, I want to know more. Can't wait for the next episode. Can't wait for next week to talk to you guys about the next episode. So, until then, everybody, take care, stay healthy. We'll see you soon. Cheers.